So Infrared took some shots at Drake on this. And I mean, there's a long history to this, but basically, it's Young Money versus Good Music, and basically, there's the whole thing about how like it kind of starts with Pharrell in a strange way.
Yeah, he
Like,
didn't get paid for a beat in '01,
right.
so and his clips was on that song,
Mhm.
and so thus Pharrell has not worked with a Cash Money artist since then, and that beef has largely been pointed at Birdman and Lil Wayne. Then Drake, obviously, as he signs Young Money, which of course Young Money is in Cash Money, so Drake kind of inherits, that beef. It's like, fucking League of Nations shit, World War I, right?
Yep.
And
the only podcast dropping League of Nations in their fucking Drake versus Pusha.
Pusha's kind of taken shots at Lil Wayne over the past like 10 years here and there, right? And like, Exodus, one of his hardest songs, one of his first really big diss tracks as a solo artist, came out, probably 2012. That's Pop Cans on that. That's a great song. The Dreams on that too. And so this beef has kind of been brewing. And then
hasn't Drake been teasing like a Pharrell collab recently?
And that's the thing. Pharrell doesn't say anything. Pharrell just works his ass off and just chooses who to work with. Oh, another part about this was like Billionaire Boys Club. Like Lil Wayne wanted to like ask for Billionaire Boys Club, and then like the clothing line, and Pharrell's camp, they're like, nah, if we don't fuck with that. And then he wore in like a video anyway, and that like really pissed them off. Like there's a lot to this. I think Ebro and Rosenberg did a great rehash on this on Hot 97, and obviously they were there when that happened, so like they're better to speak about than me or you. But it's fascinating stuff, and like recently we talked about this in the pod, Two Birds, One Stone, that Drake diss record where he took veiled shots at Pusha, and of course got more attention for kind of calling out Cuddy's mental state, right? And Pusha's kind of been referencing that as well. Drake called it at me, so I was waiting for my turn to go back on Infrared, and since he hasn't actually had an album come out since Two Birds One Stone came out, it just happened to be a long wait. And here we are. And the thing that's weird about this beef to me, or if it's really, I don't know if I feel so much beef, it's just dissing. Like I don't think Pusha T hates Drake, like hates his guts or anything. You don't even know how much they even really know each other. But Pusha, Drake was in Wyoming working with Kanye on Ye and at these sessions, and he's been working with him before. So, and I think that's why like Duppy Freestyle I thought was a fantastic response.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Story of Adidon followed it up. But before that, Duppy Freestyle was fucking great, and Drake's like
wow,
that's I'm in shock. The audacity. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, Drake is totally justified. He's like, why are you shooting at me? He's like, I pop style for 30 hours and let him repeat. It's like, bro, your guy that you work for, I've been helping him out, helping him write songs. You had me in Wyoming to help write songs. Why are you calling out me for having someone write my songs when Kanye's the one who made ghostwriting popular in rap? Like, it's just the stupidest charge. And Nicki tweeted about it. She was like, people always going at Drake for the old shit with Quentin Miller, blah, 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 right? And it's like, yeah, it's like, come on, like Drake don't write his own songs. He didn't write some of his songs. A lot of people didn't write some of their songs. It's fine, So I thought the whole base of the beef was dumb, but W Freestyle was a great response.
But the Story of Adidon,
by simply name dropping Pusha's fiance, Pusha popped off. Story of Adidon. No. So I listened to Story of Adidon the next day because on Italy time about 6 hours ahead. So I was asleep.
Oh my god!
During that great Twitter day where Roseanne got canceled, Story of Adidon dropped, and the Pokemon game got announced on Nintendo Switch. One of the world-class Twitter days, and I was asleep because I was in a different time zone. So where were you when that song actually dropped that night?
So I literally was reading an article about Brian Colangelo's 5 burner accounts. Yes. And I finished reading the Ringer article, and I come back, I'm like, oh, there's a response. And Twitter was going off. And from basically 9:30 to 11:30 at night. I was just sitting on my couch cackling, like reading people just like blowing up this everything. Oh, it was an amazing Twitter night. Yeah, man. I mean, the thing I come back to was I mean, Drake is obviously like the biggest artist on Cash Money, Young Money label right now.
Biggest artist in rap.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody's going to be taking shots at him. So he rarely can win in these sort of things, especially with someone like Pusha, who isn't afraid to take the gloves off and hit below the belt. I mean, he comes at Ovo 40 in the story of Adidon. He comes at Drake's identity and like his racial identity and his insecurity with it.
Yeah, with his hair and stuff. Yeah,
with not only with his hair, but then with the cover where Drake's wearing blackface.
Right.
He comes at Drake. You are hiding a child. I mean, like, goddamn, like there's so much that he like digs into there. So this is really a no-win situation for Drake in my book, because Drake's already, like you said, the biggest rap artist, biggest pop artist in the world right now. This can only really elevate Pusha, and Pusha ended the beef. I mean, Jay Prince came out and said that he asked Drake to not respond, and apparently Drake had a song in the chamber ready to come back. So,
which was apparently going to go at Kanye a lot too, which is, man, it's very weird how that whole relationship has disintegrated, you know? But yeah, Jay Prince jumped in and from Rap A Lot Records, of course, and then someone else chimed in too. I forget, but I think like they were saying, it's like, you know, Drake, you're the head of OVO, you're the biggest guy going, and Pusha, you're also the president of Good Music,
right?
And it's getting like personal, it's getting dirty. Like, let's stop this. We don't need to do this. And like, you know, Drake kind of was diplomatic, I guess, because he had to be. He was like, about the blackface, here's my explanation. And you know, I mean, it's not like, it seemed like he was, I guess, well intentioned, but obviously didn't land. And I just find that actually just a peculiar misstep for Drake, because Drake's such a calculated artist. He has been for some time. It's part of his genius. And
yeah,
the fact that was just sitting out there waiting to be exploited against him, because it doesn't take much. Doesn't matter the fact that, like, when you think about it, all right, it's not as bad as it looks when you hear the context, but Pusha doesn't need to use the context. He just presents it as a fucking album, a song cover, and it's fucking perfect, you know?
Yeah.
So I was surprised that Drake didn't previously address that, because if he was someone who was struggling with his blackness and his identity, as he may have been talking about in 2008 when that photo was taken, you would have liked to have heard a little bit more of that in your music. You know, you don't do interviews, so we don't know that that's what you feel. Yeah. So when this comes out, just makes you look bad.
Well, and I mean, there's so many other pieces to this, like Adonis, which is Drake's secret child's name, was going, you know, Adidon was going to be the name for Drake's upcoming clothing line with Adidas. Mm-hmm. So now you drop this and basically you take away that clothing line, because now it's associated with you being a absentee father, you know, not supporting your child, not taking ownership of being a father. I mean, there's so much
right
there. And I mean,
and you know what's funny about that? Just the clothing line aspect. That's following up one of Drake's amazing little pokes in Duppy Freestyle. I think that's the thing about Drake too. He did this with back to back when he's going at me, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Drake will like throw, like, I think Rosenberg was saying, he'll throw the little grenades to go up, blow up into camp and stir some shit up in good music, right? And he's like, oh, you know, like the thing about the Virgil line, and he was like, oh, Kanye, you remember how you've like struggled to be accepted in fashion? You can't just do it on your own. You have all these collaborative people with you, and you just can't get where you want to be. And then Virgil was with you, and Virgil goes off on his own. Next thing you know, he makes Off-White out of nothing, one of the most ascendant fashion brands we've had in like the past 5 years. And like, Pusha, Kanye, that's what you wanted, and you just let that guy leave and do it on his own. That sucks, doesn't it? And then Pusha somehow was able to make a response to the fashion angle. Like, that's the thing. Like Ozzy is a fan of both artists, big fan of both artists. I'm also a fan of hip hop over both of them.
Yes,
they're just seeing this. Man, they're both so smart. Like, they're such great back and forth, and it is kind of a shame we didn't get to hear more of it. Although it probably would have disintegrated into, you know, like, I think parts of Story of Adidon are a little rough. Like Tupac, when Nas is like, you're a rat, and Tupac's like, I fucked your wife. Like those aren't like bars anymore. Those are just
No.
like insults. Like it's not, you know, it's not as good. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the way it was going. So it's probably for the best that stops. You know,
If Drake's song came out and it was coming at Kanye and Kanye had to respond, I feel like that's the point where it would have gotten into like a weird like area. Like who knows how Kanye would have responded, what he would have said. It could have gone a lot different directions. So probably for the best it ended when it did. But the thing is, you got to give the round to Pusha T. I mean, that's the thing. Drake, the biggest rapper in the world, got bodied by Pusha T. So
and that was the thing. Everyone's like, he beat Meek Mill, a guy from the streets, and he had a great response to Pusha really fast. And I was like, wow. You know, I mean, Drake's been interested in battle rap. So, you know, I think he knows that the 40 line is possible. And Pusha may have released that on World MS Day. Not a great look. You didn't need to do that.
So the other crazy thing,
you know, Drake, I don't think Drake expected that. No one did.
No.
But fucking Pusha had his researchers, man.
Yo, that investigative journalism. Just one other quick note. Apparently, how Pusha found out about the secret child thing was from our guy ASAP Rocky.
Rocky denied that already.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Rocky was that's some bullshit. He had like a tweet about it, which you wouldn't know what the fuck he was talking about if you didn't know the context. But he was just like yelling about like, don't implicate me, blah blah blah. But I think that was like a gossip report, like like 6 months ago, right? That Drake had a secret kid.
Yeah,
and people either believed that it didn't, they let it go, and then once you put it in a rap song, everyone's like, "Whoa, fuck, it's real."
No, well, it's if anything, it's just entertainment, and I was thoroughly entertained by it.
What did Rembert tweeted? He was like, "I have laughed at 640 Drake Pusha tweets."
I felt that so much. Like it was like a whole day. I was just reading stuff, and I was so into it.
And the best one, like obviously, like this kid is probably like a few years old, so this doesn't make sense. But it was like when Adidon goes to school, and everyone realized he was right, and he was like, "Oh,
yeah." It was the Roy Williams like walking into the locker room gif, like jumping up and down. It was awesome.
Great time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a week in the rap world. I mean, you had Daytona, you had this beef, and then you had Ye.